AKAPADers, welcome. It is, here we go. Are you ready? Grab that tinsel, grab that hot chocolate, other Christmas things, put them in your hands. It is Cinemas, the annual podcast event, part of a trilogy of podcast events, because we do one for October, 31 Days of Dread, one for Thanksgiving, that's Thanks Flicking, and one for Christmas, Cinemas. And all three of these holidays, these events, we celebrate movies that emulate spirit of that event. Now, it's easy for Halloween. It's not so easy for Thanksgiving. That's why it's Thanks Flicking, the films I'm thankful for. And Cinema. Cinemas is just a straight up celebration of Christmas movies. And we have a gem. We have a movie that won 1996, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jingle All The Way. Sinbad, Phil Hartman, Rita Wilson, Jake Lloyd. Everyone's great in this movie except for Jake Lloyd. And it's amazing that George Lucas didn't watch this movie before he hired Jake Lloyd for Phantom Menace, because there's a little bit, I forget where I watched it. Might have been Disney Plus. Quick Star Wars side note. But there's a documentary on the kid that they were going to hire, but they hired Jake Lloyd, like the first place loser of Star Wars Phantom Menace. And that kid, number one, is a beautiful individual. Beautiful kid. He looked like Luke Skywalker. I don't know what happened. I don't know what evil forces Jake Lloyd sold his soul to get into Phantom Menace. But it's amazing. So why did this movie win? What is this movie about? Who am I? I'm Peter A. DeLuca. I'm your host, a.k.a. the Eclectic One, a.k.a. the Pop Culture Pope, a.k.a. the World Sketchbook Champion, comic book creator, podcaster, graphic designer, IT ninja. I am your boy over here, Spicy Taco, and this is my show. This is just where we talk. We talk a lot about movies. We like movies, but we're getting into some streaming shows now and again. We're doing the Disney Plus streaming shows. So here we go. We got Jingle All The Way, episode 437. This movie freaking won, and I love it when this happens, because a couple episodes ago I did The Warriors. And I feel like The Warriors won through time. Wasn't popular until it showed up in rap songs and was emulated in hip-hop videos in the 90s going into early 2000s. And then at that point became a merchandising juggernaut. Very, very similar to Scarface, not as impactful as Scarface, though. So how does Jingle All The Way win? Well, if you and I, if you were with me, I'm looking at you, if we went to Walmart, I always giggle. I just want to mention me going to Walmart with strangers. We could find a Turbo Man replica action figure for about a sweet old $30. We can buy ourselves a Turbo Man. And we have the great Funko company to thank for that. Oh, sorry. Look, I have something in my throat. Yeah, so Funko realizes the overall demand of Turbo Man. Now, originally, the action figure did have a little bit of a dump by Tiger Toys. And a good condition one of those. It's a good $400 to $500. So I don't know. I really like it when companies identify what the market is, what the market demand for some of these items are, and why. But why does Jingle All The Way resonate? Well, here's the thing. Jingle All The Way for a generation of kids was a Christmas movie. It was a white clamshell VHS, right? You would just watch it. You would watch that. You might watch The Grinch That Stole Christmas, starring Jim Carrey, and it's among these 90s Christmas movies that eventually resonate. Now, some of these movies resonated and took over quicker after their theatrical run. Mostly being Nightmare Before Christmas. But Jingle All The Way became a meme. There are sound bites that are memes now. Sinbad being a part of a genie movie that's a part of the Mandela effect adds to all of this. So we have this combustible element. The tragedy of Phil Hartman. But everyone's good in this movie. This movie actually has a pretty good script. Now, but here's the pushback. It's got a good script. It's made by, veteran workhorses. There's no real standout when it comes to the production. As of screenwriter, director, we can go into some of that, but I don't think it's useful. But then we have Schwarzenegger, who really, it's interesting because you would put this in the class of Twins, and you would put this in the class of Kindergarten Cop, and I think storyline wise, it's equal, and actually it feels a lot like Twins. It feels a lot like Kindergarten Cop, but something misses from this movie, and I think it's the same exact problem that we see in Hook. And here's the plot of the movie: 6 minutes in, here's the plot. The kid wants a toy. Schwarzenegger plays the kid's father, who is a workaholic. This is very much like Hook. And he bluffs the kid, finds out that the toy that the kid wants, it's impossible to get. And, he goes on this crazy adventure, and he doesn't get the toy, but eventually at the end of the movie, he becomes the toy. And all is well, and there's no emotional infliction on that kid later in life. But but what happened? Because everything I just said, you're almost like, okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes an action figure by the end of this movie. You're like, that's just like Last Action Hero. Well, here we go. Last Action Hero is a complex, brilliant script. The acting, the direction, the way that movie looks. The kid in Last Action Hero is phenomenal. But Schwarzenegger's likable in that movie. He's very likable in Twins. He's likable in Kindergarten Cop. And he's not likable here. He's not a good father. He's not a good person. He screws over Sinbad, who's a mailman on the same mission as Schwarzenegger. But Sinbad, after their first, we'll call it encounter, where Schwarzenegger kind of screws him over in hopes to get the toy, Sinbad's like, hey, truce. Let's just put our heads together and make both of our kids happy. And Schwarzenegger pretty much stiff arms him. And this is a running theme throughout the entire movie. The greed that Schwarzenegger has to get this toy, it's unparalleled, and the script and the movie itself doesn't bring in much of the Christmas spirit, because we're waiting for the kid to kind of come around to not want the toy, to want to get the toy and give the toy up to someone that needs it, or Schwarzenegger to do something very similar. And the idea of Christmas coming through doesn't even resonate. So this movie, it's a loaded bag. And I think that's why there's a little bit of anxiety. It's a little bit uncomfortable watching parts of this movie, because the lessons do not come through. The lessons of looking out for other people, what you think would be the theme of a movie where we're obsessing over a toy, a gift, something physical. Christmas movies should always transcend into the spiritual. I will always go, look, you can say what you want about Jim Carrey's The Grinch That Stole Christmas, but at the end of that movie, at the end of Christmas Story, at the end of Nightmare Before Christmas, at the end of Elf, the spirit resonates. The spirit of Christmas. And that doesn't mean you don't have to go to a church. You don't have to worship. You don't have to do anything. But you do have to respond to that. You have to respond that these movies are emulating a feeling of a holiday that's hundreds of years old. It's amazing. But Jingle All The Way doesn't quite do it, but it still wins because it's memeable, because it's somewhat of a failure for Schwarzenegger, because it's in 1996. It's in 1996, right in the middle of the idea boom of our century. There are no other experimentation we saw in the 90s. Everything was up for grabs, and you feel it, you see it in every single one of these movies. And this was a movie they thought they could make for about like 40, what's the budget? 40, 50, 60? Holy shit, $75 million. What? That can't be right. $75 million for this movie. Holy, okay. Like, how much, Schwarzenegger got 20 or 30 million. At least 20. Oh my God. So, and the release date too was November 16th. Mall of America got the premiere. Isn't that crazy? The premiere of Jingle All The Way. But this movie is supposed to be a commentary on consumerism, capitalism, all these other fun concepts that weave their way through the greatest holiday we've ever known. But the movie itself is more or less a study of the fall of the 90s, the fall of Schwarzenegger, the fall of Van Damme, the fall of Stallone. That's why movies like Demolition Man, Last Action Hero, Street Fighter, Sudden Death, they're the quest for Van Damme. That's why these movies they're looked at now with a little bit of reverence, because it really is the slow end of an era. Jingle All The Way really is one of those movies that defines the transition, the end of the Schwarzenegger, the age of Schwarzenegger. The movie did end up grossing $130 million. Didn't quite double, but it's okay. I would say, should Schwarzenegger have attacked the sequel? I think he should have. I think this could have been a little bit of a Home Alone 1 and 2 type thing. But the first one, again, like Home Alone, really captures the spirit of the holiday. This movie, with side characters, somewhat, like the mother comes back at the end, but Kevin McAllister goes through somewhat of a hero's journey in Home Alone, and celebrates the holiday and understands the spirit and the meaning of Christmas along the way. So I don't know, people. Jingle All The Way is always a recommendation, just because it's wild 90s fun that you don't take seriously. But the caveat is it's not a Christmas movie. It does not land on the Christmas spirit. But so here we go. Big shocker. Next episode of Cinemas will be Jingle All The Way 2, starring Larry the Cable Guy. I watched the first 30 minutes of that because I really wanted to know what the hook was. What is the Jingle All The Way part of Jingle All The Way 2? What's really happening with this movie? I'll tell you right now, that movie is more Christmas than this movie is within 30 minutes. So be on the lookout. We have maybe we have Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage coming. I've been just itching to watch that. We get Loki. We're still doing Loki, so just be on the lookout, everyone. I love you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. We're going on the long run here. I love you all, and we're approaching the road to 500. How cool is that? All right, people. Till next time.